All right, we are live with Bacon Bagel, aka Enteprenagel on YouTube. He did 100K in sales, and not just doing regular online arbitrage. He did it doing eBay to Amazon online arbitrage. So this was a massive month for him. And so, Josiah, do you want to just briefly explain even what eBay to Amazon is before we get into more of the nitty gritty details of the month?
Yeah, so big picture on Amazon as a seller, there's a lot of different business models. You've got the retail arbitrage, you've got used books, you've got wholesale, private label, and kind of connected to the retail arbitrage is online arbitrage. You're purchasing from websites and then reselling onto Amazon, purchasing from like Walmart or Nike or eBay, something like that. And then kind of like the niche within that is a website that most people avoid, and that's eBay. So I purchase my inventory from eBay sellers, and send it to a prep center most times, and then send it to a FBA warehouse, and from there it sells and gets sent to the customer. So it's basically online arbitrage, but like really honed in on a specific website that most people are scared of.
Yeah. And so a lot of people don't do this business model. And a lot of people, from what I've heard about it, people will say it's not scalable. You can't do it in bulk. You're not able to do that. But you've been able to do 100K in sales this month. So what would you say to people who say, eBay to Amazon isn't scalable? You can't actually make that into a full-time business.
Yeah, I think there is so much opportunity out there, specifically on eBay, and it comes down to you gotta figure out what works for you. What's your niche, and find those methods. Like we both do eBay to Amazon, but we both do it very, very differently, and I think we both have tons of room for growth. We haven't even tapped the potential with that. Steve Rakin, another guy who does eBay to Amazon, he's aggressively scaling, and as far as I know, he does it third different way from the way that you and I do it. And so with that, I think people underestimate the size of eBay and the amount of the amount of third party sellers, because almost everyone on eBay is a third party seller, and the amount of inventory that comes in. And there's just tons of potential, in my opinion.
Yeah. And so you've been doing probably 50 to 60K months for a lot of this year, which is amazing. Like 50, 60K in sales is really good. But like what shifted in order for you to actually do 100K in sales this month? Because that's a massive leap from 50 to 60K a month.
Yeah. Let me pull up my Seller Central and see what this year looked like. Yeah, I think so. October of last year was my highest month ever up to that point. And that was about 42 grand. So in sales, 42 grand in sales a year ago. And to put things into perspective with how we've been able to scale with eBay to Amazon, just so far this October, we've already sold like 20 something. Let me see. Yeah, let's see if you can see that.
That's awesome. Yeah,
So
that is really hitting.
Yeah, we've already done in 5 days half of what we were able to do a year ago in 30 days, which is crazy. And some of the big shifts is fully trusting and utilizing a prep center. That's been huge. Wouldn't have been able to scale without that. Second, utilizing a VA. We figured out a couple different sourcing methods, and they're a little bit time consuming. So then we created SOPs, fine-tuned that process, and had a VA doing that to help find and generate new leads. Because the way that I do it, one downside is it's hard to find replens that last a long time. Most of the products are, I get a couple hits, a couple reorders, and then the supplies kind of dried out or the price on eBay goes up. And so with that, it's a constant, a bit of a grind to always be finding new inventory. And having a VA do that more manual labor intensive work, huge benefit. Now, you asked about most of this year, we were kind of stuck and plateaued around the 60K range of revenue per month. And I can try to show this here. I don't know if that's readable at all, but the biggest thing looking back that held us back, we were growing. The equity in the business was increasing month over month. We weren't taking all that profit out every month, but we had some prep center issues that slowed us down. So each month we'd kind of order a little bit more inventory than the previous, but that inventory wasn't really making its way to the warehouses. And so we had a backlog of this inventory that was growing, but not being available to sell. And so hindsight, we should have, I think we went through, honestly, probably 3 prep centers earlier this year. And I should have left all 3 of those much sooner than I did. I had a hard time cutting my losses and going to find another one. So that's a big picture, something that really, really big learning lesson for this year. But now we're in a better prep center situation. And so the inventory moves a lot quicker. I think it gets shipped out quick enough that I don't even notice. It's probably gets shipped out the week it arrives at the prep center, which is great. And if you were to sit down and do some nerdy exponential math, it's incredible the difference with cash flow you can get when you have your inventory moving much quicker. And so that's been a huge thing, and that honestly is the biggest thing that changed for us. Our sourcing methods throughout most of this year have all been the same. We've had the VA since I think March or April, and had to fine tune some of the ways she's doing things for us. We started with manual sourcing for her, the traditional Amazon storefront stocking, and then realized like this eBay thing is doing pretty good. And so now she's fully sourcing on eBay and has been for, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 months now.
Yeah. And so a couple things come to my mind there. For one, you were talking about how you almost have like it's not a purchase at one time and then you're not able to find more, but it's kind of like you purchase it, like you hope it's going to be for the long term, but most likely it's going to be a reorder or 2 or 3 maybe. And then in some really good cases, it could be for half of a year. And so that's kind of the model where you're spending time finding stuff, and like you find these like bulk deals a lot of the time, and then you're able to purchase those bulk deals. Those bulk deals do really well, and you're able to do a couple reorders. Is that kind of how it is for you and your business?
I fixed my headphones.
Yes, let's go. We were talking about this before.
I was listening to you though. Okay. Yeah, that's a great question. So this is something I've kind of thought about a lot, the life cycle of a product, right? So at the top, you have the manufacturer. Well, you have somebody creates a product. They send it to a manufacturer. Manufacturer pumps it out. Manufacturer either sends it direct to the customer or to a distributor or straight to a retailer. So like you got a lot of wholesalers up at that level, or you're going direct to customer. And from there, the products can go like 15 different ways. It can trickle all the way down to where you, Seth, find it at a thrift store after who knows where it's been. Maybe somebody bought it off Amazon, gave it to Susie for Christmas. Susie didn't like it. It sat in the closet for a year. They finally moved. They put it out at the garage sale. the neighbor was interested in it, and you can see where this goes.
Right.
It could have gone from person to person for a couple of years. And but the other way that I think where most of my inventory is coming from is when Walmart or Target or say Walgreens is trying to get rid of a product. Maybe there's new packaging coming out. Maybe it's a discontinued product because of new models come out. They clearance it. Where do those clearance products go? Sometimes the end consumer grabs it off the shelf and they open it up and they use it. They're super happy they got a great deal. I think a lot of the time there's someone like you or I doing retail arbitrage. They come in, they clear the shelf. Okay, they clear the shelf. They either sell it on Amazon or they sell it on eBay. I don't think a lot of Amazon sellers realize how many people are doing some form of retail arbitrage on eBay. eBay, you can't demand the same price. So there's actually an arbitrage opportunity there in and of itself. Somebody goes to Walmart, they buy the clearance stuff, they list it on eBay. I buy it from them, I list it on Amazon. We all make money, except for maybe Walmart. They might have lost money, but I'm okay with that. Or the other way is when, say, Target is just done with that clearance stuff, they throw it in a liquidation pallet, and some of these bigger players on eBay buy stuff by the pallet.
Yeah.
And then they list it. And that's, I think a lot of the people that I buy are more in that category because they're getting these larger quantities. And I think that's kind of the trickle down effect. So to answer your question, which was kind of lost my train of thought there.
Which it was basically like a lot of people are either stuck in the I'm going to do completely one-offs or I'm going to do completely replenishables. And it seems like you're kind of somewhere in the middle there, that like you actually get really good bulk deals and maybe you can purchase them like several times and make solid money off a lead that you find, but it's not a one-off and it's not a expectation of being able to sell this for a year.
Yes. Okay. So sometimes I find a product, I can tell it's a discontinued product. Since I usually sell new stuff only, there's a super limited supply of it. I can look, I can see on eBay, this item hasn't really been selling. There's only like 20 of these available. Apparently everybody's forgot about this product, literally everyone, but there used to be a demand on Amazon. I'll come in and I will deplete that supply on eBay and sell them all on Amazon really quick just because of the marketing power of Amazon. And then I want more, but there's just like none available in the world until somebody finds one in their garage. But at that point, it's kind of like a one-off replan. And I have quite a few ASINs like that. I feel like I depleted the supply on eBay. And every now and then, a couple times a month, somebody finds one at a thrift store or a garage sale. They list it on eBay, and I snatch it and put it on Amazon. So those I can usually tell right away, like this is super lucrative. This is like 125% ROI. I would be the only seller on Amazon. So the question really only is, how high will Amazon let me price it?
Yeah.
And those products are awesome, but they're usually harder to do in a replan kind of way. There's other ones where I found them doing retail arbitrage myself. And so I know this is a Walmart clearance item. The lifespan of this product being at the right price, super limited. At some point, all the Walmarts in the entire US will sell out of this. And it'll either end up going to the consumer or I will buy it from other resellers on eBay. And then other times, I do have a couple products that I've probably been selling for like 18 months, primarily eBay to Amazon flips. Some of them I started flipping from other websites. And then I realized like, wait a second, it's a lot cheaper to get this from eBay. And why those have a continued replan lifespan, I'm not really sure. That's something I'm trying to figure out. But part of it is they're not discontinued products. They still are carried in stores. And so I think it becomes Christiana buys Seth a toothbrush because his breath stinks. They get in a fight. He takes that toothbrush to Goodwill.
Yeah. It could be something like that, or it could even be like Target, for some reason, Target in Missouri is having a hard time moving these toothbrushes, but everywhere else they move fine. So they clearance them. And so the eBay seller goes in and sells it for 30% ROI.
Yeah.
Maybe, but probably more good stuff.
But with the eBay to Amazon, the coolest thing that I really enjoy taking advantage of is finding the guys that are more in the liquidation space. They get this stuff for cheap. They get it in bulk. And so it's easy to say, hey, if I buy all 25 of your units, can you give me a discount? And most of the times they do. And usually that product I could already make money off of. And so any discount they give me is just sweetening the deal.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a massive power in being able to purchase several $100s to several $1,000s worth of inventory in one go. That is, like, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. It's almost like baby wholesaling. I have at this point a long list of eBay sellers. I stock their stores. Some of them get bulk quantities of really good stuff, and I communicate with them, negotiate good prices. Sometimes they come to me, hey, I got this new product that you might be interested in. I'll give it to you for this deal. I mean, I haven't done a wholesale, but I feel like that's kind of like some of what wholesale is like. But the thing is, the margins that most people on eBay get are usually pretty good. So they have more room to do that.
Yeah, that's absolutely crazy. And it's just super interesting taking a look into how you do things. To kind of shift topics a little bit, I'm curious, you've been talking about your sourcing methods, and it seems like oftentimes you're getting really good ROI. Not always, though, but oftentimes you're getting really good deals. I'm curious, what percentage of the growth from 60K to 100K per month would you attribute to larger ROI versus what would you attribute it to just having more capital spent on profitable inventory in general?
I don't know for sure about the ROI. My goal most of this year has been an average of 50 to 60% ROI, potential ROI. And that's been pretty much the goal the whole year. I haven't changed that. And I think when we've been able to maintain that, we get stuff that's way over that 100-something% ROI. And then if stuff is quick enough moving, I do go down to 30% sometimes. If it's a super, like, I've tested this ASIN, I know as soon as it gets into the warehouse, it's going to sell. I do some of that as well. But what attributed to that growth? I think the biggest thing, since we're doing cash only, we're not leveraging credit or any other type of Amazon loans or anything like that. The biggest limiting thing for us has always been capital. And it's the capital that we earn is the capital we have to spend. And so for most of this year, we were making good profit, low 5-figure profits. Like, say if I had to guess, maybe like around 11 or 12 grand profit a month for a number of months in a row. And we were taking not all of that, but more than 50% of that out to pay ourselves. And so the additional profit left over to take into the next month to scale the business wasn't significant. And that usually would get spent on inventory that sat at a prep center for way too long.
Especially during the summer.
Yes. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah. And so now we've gotten to the point where we're roughly, what we pay ourselves is probably under 50% of our total profit. So we have a much bigger pot of cash to take into the next month. and that really helps us scale in that way, having more capital available. I don't think our sourcing methods have changed at all, really.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes total sense. And also, I'm sure, even though you say your sourcing methods probably haven't changed as much, the relationship with the eBay sellers to be able to be like, hey, like I've purchased your stuff like 3 times so far. Can you give me a deal? Like, you'll probably get better ROI from that. But I think the main thing is you've been extremely consistent when it comes to running your business with cash, paying yourself, and then reinvesting the rest of the profits back into the business for a really long time now. Like, we come here and we're talking about how Josiah sold 100K in sales this month, and it's not just like he just like worked really hard in like August and like from nothing and just sold 100K this month. Like, no, like you've been working really hard on this and like fine tuning your methods and like reinvesting profits back into the business for a couple of years now at this point, right?
Yeah. Honestly, probably started a little e-commerce thing, flipping on eBay in like early 2019 with like $200, and put some additional personal money into it about a year ago. Excuse me. But other than that, it's all been just reinvesting the profits from within. And yeah, it's been a slow growth process compared to heavily leveraging credit, but we're to a really rewarding point. And what's really interesting is, yeah, we've had our 2 highest sales months ever. Like August was 80 something K, which was, I think, roughly 20 grand more than we'd ever done before. And then September was 102, 103, somewhere like that, about 20K more than the month before. And those 2 months, to put things in perspective, I don't feel like I worked very hard. My wife was really pregnant in August. And so I kind of eased back a little bit. And then September, our son was born. And I don't really feel like I feel like I kind of took some time off. I still worked, but I don't feel like I worked very hard or harder than previous months. It's just the recurring benefits of a process and all the work and systems created earlier this year and previous years.
And do you feel like your potential profit sent in September or August changed, even though you feel like you didn't work like super hard? Like, were they pretty similar inputs, if that makes sense?
Yeah, good question. Let me look at my spreadsheet here, see if I can remember.
I just love the numbers. While you're looking at that, I'm going to shout out Christiana Cordic, checkmate, my wife. We just went on a fun hike recently, so that was fun. The chief says, have any softwares been helpful to scale other than Keepa, of course? We will talk about that in a second once he's done looking at a spreadsheet. Eric says, how do you determine a profitable buy with eBay to Amazon? Do you look at Keepa and other software like Seller Amp or TA? I mean, yeah, this is just kind of like how you would do it with regular online arbitrage. Like if you see that it sells for 100 on Amazon and it sells for 50 on eBay, there's probably going to be like 15 to 20 bucks in fees. And so you enter those numbers into Seller Amp and you see, okay, what am I going to actually get after this buy cost and after these fees? Like always, when you make a purchase for online arbitrage, always enter the numbers into either your Amazon seller app at the very basic level or in Seller Amp so that you can see the fees. Have any softwares been helpful to scale? I mean, probably Keepa, maybe a little TA, Seller Amp, and Rev Seller probably.
For me, yeah, tactical arbitrage is the biggest one that really benefits us. And then, yeah, Keepa for making good decisions off of leads you find, and Rev Seller for analyzing. I haven't used Seller Amp, but I yeah, sounds like it's a great option as well.
Yeah, I mean, Rev Seller and Seller Amp, the main purpose of both of them is to put what you're going to sell it at, what you're going to buy it at, see the fees, and see a couple other statistical things.
Oh, I will say, repricers really important too. Okay. I jumped around from a couple different ones. I found Be Cool earlier this year, and I thought I was a wizard, and I set up my own repricing strategy. I watched a couple YouTube videos, and that's what I had for most of the year. And then I switched to one of their AIs, their AI repricing methods, maybe like 6 or 8 weeks ago. And immediately that week, I saw a huge difference. Stale inventory started flying off the shelf. So that has been a recent change that made a huge difference. My camera doesn't want to stay on today.
It doesn't happen much. Maybe before we go, and guys, we're gonna go on to Entreprenagel's channel in just a few minutes here. But I think you found the answer to the question in your spreadsheet.
Yeah. So I guess I hadn't really even realized this. So thanks for asking. This is interesting to analyze.
Yeah.
Looks like most of this year, month to month, I was spending around 30 grand a month, plus or minus. It spent on inventory, and our average ROI, potential ROI between 60 and 70% most of those months. And then August, we spent 50 grand. So that's a pretty big jump. And where did that money come from? That money came from inventory that finally got sent in from a prep center.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my word.
Yep. All of a sudden we had like 15 grand extra the next month. And yeah, that tells you how much inventory was sitting around. You
were basically in the mindset of like, I'm just gonna spend everything on profitable inventory besides what we pay ourselves. And you've been in that mindset so consistently the whole year that you just automatically spent another 15K.
Yeah, I pretty much, I hate seeing money in my bank account. It feels like I'm losing money if there's money in the bank account, because right now we're still trying to scale. At some point, you want money in your bank account. Like that's the point of running a business, right?
Right.
But for now, yeah, it hurts a little to see money in the bank account because it's not doing anything for us. And so usually, yeah, like my spending goals have been very closely tied to how much money is in the bank available to spend. And I try to keep it realistic at the beginning of the month. I try to, I think this is how much we spent last month. Our sales were like the same as last month. So we probably can't spend any more than we did last month. We'll probably be at the same place. But now we're seeing some nice profits allowing us to spend more. So yeah, August we spent 50, and then September about 45. So I guess I didn't work very hard in September. We'll see if we can gonna try to up that a little bit here for October because we got some extra money.
Yeah. Well, that's exciting. Thank you so much for giving us a glimpse into how you're doing 100K per month. And guys, if this was entertaining or you want to continue hanging out with us while you work, while you list stuff, while you're just hanging out at the house, we're going to go on his channel right now. We're literally just going to hop off, get the link, and we'll be on there in about 2 minutes. So follow us to his channel. His channel is Enteprenagel. I'm typing it in the chat for you guys. Actually, I forgot how to spell it. Enteprenagel. There we go. I spelled it right. But we are going to be there. I guess I could get the link real quick. I'm going to get the link real quick, actually.
Did I send it to you yet?
I'm just going to grab it real quick.
Cool.
Yeah. So I have the link right here in 1 second. All right. Here's the link. We will be there in 2 minutes. See you there.